Welcome to BeoTalk number 318.
Yeah, new spot for me.
I hope everybody's doing all right. Let's do some shilling and shit. I'm out of sorts because you moved. Go buy stuff at Skinny Play. Use the promo code to get 10% off. Link is in the chat. I think it's in the description, but I forget now. I should really look that up. So our promo code actually gets you a better deal than the deal that's on the site, which is nice.
Probably.
So then there's that, and come join our Discord if you haven't yet already. Good stuff there. Ever expanding, still over 1,000.
Right on. Yeah, it's about what 1060 or 1070 that we're at the numbers now.
Yeah, something like that. It's a shit ton of people.
And that's right, and it's a good pool of information gathered, that's for sure.
Yeah.
So.
And leave a like and subscribe if you haven't yet already. For whatever reason, if you're on Twitch today, it's being weird. I may have to end it. I don't know what's going on, but I'm dropping frames like crazy. But YouTube is fine, so I think it's a Twitch thing.
Something's happening.
Yeah, so just FYI. Yeah, so how's your moving week been?
Oh, fuck. It was not fun. So, I was telling you before we went online or on air, I rented, like, obviously, I set the storage locker for last 3 weekends, Saturdays, to be dropped off for, like, visits.
Mm-hmm.
So I moved a whole bunch of stuff at the van, and I left whatever I left for the last move, which I was assuming I'm going to have a truck with the goddamn lift gate, right?
Yeah.
So September 9th, which is plenty amount of notice to move on October 5th, right?
Yeah.
We would all agree. So I call Penske, you bastards, and I see where it's going already. I booked the truck. Everything was cool, but they said they can't guarantee. You call in way too early. Call 5 days before your booking time or when you need it. I'm like, all right, but create the fucking ticket number. Blah blah blah. I have the order. Cool. Get the email confirmation that blah blah blah. We had this that I booked it, and the Monday rolls around last week. So I called the Penske, and he's like, "Oh shit, I'm sorry, but I don't think we're gonna be able to help you out. We're still waiting for the truck and blah blah blah." And I'm like, "Well, shit, talking mushrooms, man. Like, what's the point of booking?
Reservations.
Yeah, what isn't the point of reservation to reserve the truck? Like, what the fuck? My money's no good over here." And basically, no, my money is no good over here because they tend to cater to more businesses that rent out the trucks for like few weeks in a time or a few days in a row, right? Instead of like Jimmy Joe nobody that I come in there with the fucking rent it for a few hours and drop it off. So he calls me on Thursday, 2 days before these need to go, and he says, "Sorry, we had the truck, but the guy that I work with, my colleague, he needed it, so he took it, didn't even care." Well, why the fuck would you tell me that to begin with? Just tell me you don't have one. Like, I don't need to know the full story to get even more mad, right? Because now I
Yeah.
want to just go there and burn your place down, you asshole. So yeah, then the headache. Like, now I go to the Bookface marketplace, whatever, right? Try to get the shit sorted out. Nobody's responding, and then so I'm sitting just beating the fuck down on Friday afternoon in the shop. And Julien, the second sales guy, right? He says, "Well, like, I have a trailer, like they would fit there." I'm like, "You're willing to do that?" I was like, "Yeah." Because I had Etienne and his son come over. Like, we had enough manpower and to put the speakers and move them, but there was no stairs. Like, it was no stairs with the lift kit. It was just put it on dolly, roll the fucker into the right, roll it
Yeah.
into the back, and strap it, copy and paste for the second one. And so he's like, "Yeah, I'll do that." So at 8 o'clock in the morning, I had to work at 9:30, right? Because the shop is open on Saturday. So at 8 o'clock, we met at the storage locker. I already had my van loaded with a whole bunch of stuff. I actually called the pods and told them that we need to have that container out at 8 o'clock on a fucking dollar.
Mm-hmm.
So I go in and I told him to show up at 8:15. He was there at 8:15. Etienne was there at 8:15. So I already had the truck loaded, put the Eames chair in my van, blah blah blah. And then we loaded the speakers, and he had these goofy like strap racks or rails on the bottom that you can clip on shit. For the because he goes the reason why he's got the trailer because he does competitive what is it dirt biking
Mm-hmm.
with his kids. Like, they're pretty high up in the leagues, I guess. So they're doing very well, and so he's got the trailer. The whole thing is fucking helmets are dangling and shit, and I'm trying to wiggle the 90s in bloody thing. So we got them in, strapped them down, transport over, and I had their elevator booked for 1 o'clock in the afternoon because I assumed everything was gonna go, as one had planned a month ago. Well, it's just like in a war. Every plan is good till the first bullet whizzes by your head, and that was it. So now we're out the fucking front door at say 8:30, no, 8:45. We were at the front of the door here at my apartment. Nobody's at that. And I went yesterday or day before that. I went downstairs to tell them, like, "Listen, can I, reschedule or whatever?" Nobody at their desk. So I'm like, "Okay, well, you know what? Fuck it. They're coming in. Hell and high water, bro. That's just what it is. No, fuck around, leave 160 kilo per speaker, $250,000 sitting out on the front porch, right? Like, that's not happening."
No.
So, we dollied them up. I measured the doors, but I had gone down fucked up on the measurement. I was very optimistic on my entry, right? But I was quarter inch too optimistic.
That's tight.
No, we had to take the door off.
All right.
We had to take the freaking door off to my apartment, put it on the side, roll the speaker in, roll the second speaker, put the door back on, go for the second trip. I picked up both of the lab ones, the mattress and the Beosystem cabinet. That was that. That was moved out, and then here it was just a disaster. Yesterday, I still up till 1 o'clock in the morning organizing all this stuff and moving. I set up my bed. I finally stayed here for the first night because I slept the last 5 days at my girlfriend's place because I had no bed here, right? So I would come here for a few hours and just unpack and blah blah blah. I already got the 9,000 ready, and then I guess the biggest choke is that I found out after I unpacked the theater, put the 18s up and shit. There is no power behind the Lab 90s here on 3 plugs. No
Yeah.
power. So I called, made a ticket, whatever. The dude come in. He's like, "Oh no, there was power when I was here." I'm like, "No, this is not. Like, there's no power here. Breakers are good. I don't know what's going on. The electrician needs to come in." So I'm holding off because if they have to fucking cut drywall and stuff, I don't want these speakers to be open and around all that nonsense. So hopefully next week I'll find out.
Yeah, they're just gonna walk into them anyway.
And that's another thing, right? Like I'd rather have them in a crate for now than losing hair over somebody that comes around with the big toolbox and drills and shit hanging off them and going around those speakers. Because if I'm not home, if they come in, I don't know what's happening here.
I keep on forgetting about that. That's apartment life where people just come into your place without telling
Well, they
you.
have to have a permission, right? That's another thing. Like I have that disclaimer. No, like nobody's coming in here without me being in attendance of here. So that's just it. But
Even so, I mean,
yeah, it's still bullshit. It honestly is still bullshit, but that's just the living of the apartment, right? Like if there's anything wrong, that's the nice thing that they come in and fix it. It's just when and who is another story. Where you do it all yourself, I guess.
so do you get a date of when the power will be fixed, or is it just like somewhere between now and a month?
I'll get a phone call day prior to the visit, which is as good as a winter coat to a dead guy because I'm scheduled like a week and something ahead of time, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know. Maybe I'll just buy a little Nest camera and stick it up here so I know what's going on. Because you never know, right? Like curious eyes and fingers and shit. It's not that I'm
the
worried
glass
about
just
something.
broke. It was broken when I came in.
Exactly. I'm not worried about stuff going missing. I'm just worried about stuff being damaged because these people that have no idea, like even the guy that came in here to look at the power, like, he was looking at the TV like a goat on a freshly painted gate. And he didn't know what the fuck it was. Right. And the speakers too. Like it's not a very common equipment that people come across, especially in the apartment buildings, even though it's a high end condo. It's still not something that I think I'm probably the only one here that has B&O. Maybe there is 2 more people because when Etienne was moving me here, we were having a smoke on the balcony and he looked and he recognized 2 networks. So maybe some people that we had serviced the Quebec Sun had moved into this building within my range of Wi-Fi reach, I guess. So yeah, these are the 90s behind me, bro, and they do block a lot of light in their current state where they are. And I kind of regret where I had to put them, but at the time, this was all filled with Lego. All of this was Lego here, everywhere.
It's way too much Lego.
It's way too much, man. And I found my bulldozer. I found the Lab 4s. So I'm going to build the dozer as soon as I get organized in here. But I think the next one is going to be a trip to IKEA and buy a cheesy couch. Because I'm not going to invest a lot of money in a couch here because if I'm going to be here for a year, maybe 2 years at the most, it's not going to be something that it feels bad. And it's also a liability to pack, right? The way I, pack things, it's going to be a shit show. So that way I can just sell it on Bookface and so. But the weird thing is in the new buildings, I have only one network port in the entire apartment that comes right behind the 9,000 to the also where the power plugs don't work. Okay. So I'm thinking I'll run the network to the theater and then from the theater into the 90s. And then the 90s run in between themselves so I can bypass having a switch and a box and nonsense and shit here. It shouldn't be an issue. It should work in my onion. Well, we'll see. If not, I'm gonna have to, put a switch in, and that's the end of it.
Should work. I mean, but switches do magical things, so.
Exactly. Especially, I've never run it in that scenario as far as a B&O setup that I would ran extra network to extra speakers through.
Just hope the wired network is on the same network as your internet.
No, that's not a problem.
Otherwise, you're like your app is like, wait, what?
I'm thinking of putting a ubiquity on, but I don't think it's necessary for how small this place is. But I'm finally going to indulge in BeoLiving intelligence that had sat in my storage locker for past 2.5 years. I literally have. Have I even opened it?
I think so at some point, right?
No,
Ah.
I don't think I even opened it. Let's see. Unboxing time. Let's see. I can tell if
You're finding out all the stuff you have again.
fucking Christmas time. No, I have never opened it. No, it's never. This is the first time that the power supply came out. So, yeah, good times, good times, good times. I'm going to program my house. I don't know if I'm going to do the lighting in here or not. Yeah, dude, this has never been used. You smell the intelligence in there. Oh,
The Chinese intelligence.
no, it's. I don't think it's Huawei, is it? No, let's not go there.
I have no idea where it comes from.
Raspberry Pi.
I
Let's
wouldn't
hope.
be surprised if it's from Shenzhen somewhere.
So, yeah, this is it. This is gonna be fun times. I found that apparently my level decided not to auto tune or self calibrate when you run the room compensation.
Yeah, it needs
says
to be connected to power.
no, the microphone is not active. So, okay, factory reset. Do it again. Microphone's not active. Can't pair Bluetooth remote into it either. Okay, fuck. I gotta put you on a Google Home, right? So I put on
Yeah.
a Google Home. Pair the remote. Fine. Try to do the room comp microphone. I'm like, take the fucking grill off, right? Ain't nothing in front of the microphone. Run the thing, fails again. I'm like, WTF, bro? But then you go into the sound room compensation and it says rerun.
Okay.
So is it the bug in the app that says that it failed, but it actually took on the level side? Because when you undock it from the power, it's it mutes and comes back and it sounds different. So there is some sort of a compensation going on. But on the app, it just says it's failed. And that started happening 2-3 days ago. Because when I first moved here on Monday, I got the internet. So on Monday, I fired up the level. Fuck, I had the moment unpacked already and Beosound won because I was curious if the battery's gone and I have the 000 serial number, right?
Mm-hmm.
So none of that happened.
Good times.
Yeah, I was expecting the good times, but none of that happened. So it was smooth sailings through the whole thing. So
I don't know. Yeah, maybe there's changes in the app that we're supposed to be caught in beta, but nobody does. I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised. It wouldn't be the first time.
No, but I actually went for a service call the other day, and I found out that one of our clients actually on the core has a beta software installed, and he's not even in the beta.
There is something funky going on.
So yeah, now I found that a little peculiar, but definitely something that is interesting.
I mean, speaking of software, like everybody got it at the same time, it seems, an update on the ASC platform to 5.9.
Mm-hmm.
Because for the longest time, I had weird remote issues with the stage. As in be a remote. Like the LG remote would work regardless. But it's a cheap piece of crap plastic, right? So I didn't feel like using it.
Oh, but that magic nonsense, I fucking hate that, no.
But every 2-3 days, it would forget the remote or the settings or something in it where the remote would more or less work, just you couldn't turn on any TV sources, which was annoying. And I was on 5.7, and you found out I was on 5.7, and there was no update, although my app showed that there were updates up to 5.9.
Okay, yeah, and then I put the software on the Dropbox.
Yeah, and I looked back.
Did you download it?
Well, I looked back on my stage, and it was downloaded on the stage already, in the same period that you got it.
That's weird.
But then also I saw on Discord a bunch of other people said the same thing, that they got an update to 5.9.
Okay.
So maybe these were like beta releases or something that nobody actually got.
Or a service release, more or less, than anything. I don't know. I honestly don't know, because like when I was looking at the PHC, I couldn't see shit on yours.
Yeah, so it's
Like that release wasn't even assignable to your stage, so I don't understand.
maybe it was country specific. I don't know, but everybody has it now, and ever since then, the stage has been fine.
Yeah, there was a software update also. I'm sure this is people that I honestly have fallen behind a little bit in the Bio news and whatever in the past 3 weeks, because I've been moving and doing shit and not really sitting on the Bio wise. But the one thing that definitely goes without not being able to not notice that is LG store somehow deleted, or the BNO app is no longer available in the LG store. Yeah, yeah. So on the BOIs, there's a link. I forget the article number. There's a link. If you look for it, you'll see it. You can download it to a USB stick. As soon as you plug in the USB stick, it auto installs itself on the iOS or WebOS, whatever.
Mm.
But they're recommended, once the LG fixes their problem, and the app must be reinstalled. I guess they want it to be linked back to your LG account, or I don't know, because it's maybe like an open
Uh,
Kimono version. I don't know.
for everybody listening, this is a huge warning. Then do not factory reset your panel.
Yeah, you're gonna be crying crocodile tears.
Damn, that's a big oopsie.
Yeah, I don't know when they're gonna resolve it or how fast. They're working on it, obviously. But for now, the workaround is, for all the techs that are watching, or you're gonna be watching later, go on the BOIs and just download yourself a BNO LG screen app
Yeah, but
onto
let's say you're
your.
somebody like Sandeep or Billy or whatever that been having all these issues, right? Like, if you just think I'll factory reset it to see if XYZ will fix it,
Well,
you
you're bound to find out you're gonna have a way worse afternoon than you thought you did.
yeah,
That's why
exactly.
that's why I'm bringing it up. So don't reset your panels, y'all.
Uh, that's a big issue, especially if you have like other LG related issues. That is off the table.
For a while.
Yeah, but for a while probably means 6 weeks or so, right?
I don't know. I honestly, I wish it was done tomorrow.
Yeah, same. But like LG takes a while before they like approve stuff.
I think it was fuck up on the LG side more than the BNO, because I don't think that's something.
Oh
The
no,
BNO
I
app was.
agree, right? Like it was probably some license or whatever that somebody misread and just said like it no longer complies or some nonsense. Because when the Harmony launched, right, like that app was available too for the longest time, but only on USB.
That's right. That's right.
Uh, but I'm thinking now where I am right now, like who do I call?
Hmm.
Like I'm lucky in the sense that I know you or my dealer, and you can send me a file, right, with
Hmm.
it. But if I was like not doing literally this YouTube thing, like what would you do?
Just cry in a corner.
Yeah, because I mean, round trip to my closest dealer is I think 350 kilometers.
And the fuck me, right?
Yeah,
It's not that tragic for like North American distances, but it's still a headache. It's a day killed.
yeah. And I live in a state with dealers, right? So
Hmm.
so it's I mean, just live in Texas, live in I don't know Illinois.
New York, I guess.
Yeah, your round trip closest dealer is like 1,500 kilometers,
Mm.
if not further.
I'm actually wondering, once I unbox these things, do I have the latest software on them? It's 3.1.0, I believe. But I don't know if it was a software update for them after the theater came out to make the Mozart Weissa work something handshaky better. I
For
don't
what?
remember.
For the 90s?
Yeah, What software do you have on your 50s? 3.1.0? Because it's the same software bank.
Yeah, I'll look it up. I haven't had an update in forever.
No, neither have I. Years. So I'm thinking that they're good.
Like my second pair, I haven't even had to update. Like they just came with the correct software, which is
Yeah, I did the set of 50s not too long ago, and they no update anymore. They just came with the most recent. I guess they
uh,
finally ran out of the boards that were with the old software.
3.1.0.1187.
Hmm. Yeah, once I open them up, I'll plug them in and find out. But
God, we have guests, and speaking of software, I really need to have B&O come pull through with that cleaning mode or delete the top
oh
function on the
yeah,
theaters, because the girl cat just now with uh like people visiting here, she just mid movie jumps on top of the theater and starts looking at everybody, and then walks around. And yesterday we were having dinner, and
oh
she turned the radio off 3 times to like YouTube or Disney Plus.
whatever the my button she stepped on.
Yes,
Oh
or
no,
just paused it, right? Because the play pause button is there.
fuck.
I mean, and
Yeah, that's
then what
not
was it
good.
last night at like 11:30? All of a sudden, you hear doom, 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 and it's Deezer starts playing.
Oh god, you need essence remotes everywhere, so just long press to all standby. Fuck, in the middle of the night. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's a
or
that's a
I could
big
just
issue.
like delete that functionality, or like not have it on because I don't use it. It's just a cat using it now.
I guess the only way is to do it is open up that glass panel and disconnect the ribbon cable.
Yeah, and I don't want to do that.
Yeah, which is a silly
Solution, yeah.
solution, right? Because if you want to have it, you have to take it all apart and plug it back in, which is dumb. It should be on a software, not even a cleaning mode, just disable touch interface, and that's it.
Yeah,
Because I'm sure you're not the only one. When like I'm sure that there's kids with curious little fingers that every now and then do that. You know what I mean? So
especially since it lights up so nicely when you stand in front of it.
yeah, and it's very lucrative to touch. So and I don't use it. Like for me, the only thing is that I would love to have it turned off so I can wipe the dust off of it because then I don't have to worry about setting up different my buttons and volume going whatever sizes and yeah. So yeah, that should be addressed. But other than that, man, I gotta say, I'm very excited about it. I can't wait to get my 90s set up back up in place. It's gonna look so great in here. I had pictures, but now the 90s are basically covering the theater and the 18s behind me, which is a shame, but not for long.
I mean, you can put them right here and cover my 18s. That's fine.
Cover your 18s with it. Oh, yeah. How many people use the touch controls? I'm gonna go with no. Ooh, 88% so far.
Yeah, I mean, I get it in terms of their initial design, right? Where initially they sort of put it in a way where like you can put it on like a cupboard where you walk in and have it play as a beer
Music
sound
system.
as a beer
Hmm.
sound device and use it that way. But does anybody do that? Like I'd much rather have a beer sound 2, a balance, you name it for that.
Sandeep, setting default volume to 0 does not affect the My Buttons preset because if in My Buttons preset you set the atmosphere source, and in the atmosphere you can set the volume, which that's where you would have to send it to set it to 0, and whatever listening preset that you would have to choose. But yeah, the default volume is not applicable to My Button selection, so that will not solve Mikey's problem when the cat walks all over the buttons, unless you set all your my buttons in the atmosphere to be volume 0, which is kind of silly because the cat don't walk on it, continuously, but every day, I guess.
Well, it's
But
the last 3-4 days now that like stuff has been walked on, and it's really annoying.
can you not put like tinfoil on it or some shit that like
I guess.
you gotta fight it somehow, man? And if there's no smart solution, you gotta go primitive. You
I
gotta
mean,
go medieval.
maybe she's like is
Calling
bored
it.
or something. But yesterday there was obviously like a bird on something we were watching, so it was immediately on the TV, like sitting on the theater, like hey bird.
Mm.
It's
Yeah, that's not good. Yeah, because you don't really have a solution. Like, can you actually not have any my button set up? I don't remember if you could do that because if you reset the factory, it just defaults loads up a bunch of crap stations that you are within your vicinity.
I guess I can set up none, but it's kind of annoying, right? Like if the solution on their
Yeah,
side would be just a line of code to deactivate the panel,
yeah.
because we asked for it a while ago now, and we
I've
even
asked for it the day, almost the day one the theater came out, because when we saw that, like, I saw this touch interface and I immediately saw the problem with it. Immediately saw the problem with it, but it's not something that I thought that fuck, the software's so early, blah blah blah. Maybe they'll do something about it because there is a disable the proximity sensor, but that only doesn't light the thing up. It doesn't really disable the.
I guess
So
I can get some electrical tape out and see if that works. Which is like
I don't think so. I think it'll still be. I'll think it'll still sense.
just like a whole strip, right? Like not an individual square per button, just like roll out like a yard or so.
Tape the whole glass up.
Because I would also
Yeah,
have to
that's
tape up the volume slider. Because she's also on that every so often.
no. You gotta go right across, man. Because like that's what is there. My buttons, microphone, play pause, Bluetooth, and volume slider, right? All that shit screws up with everything.
Like 3-4 months ago, the remotes didn't work because she turned off the Bluetooth, so that was fun.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Suddenly, just put the cat in the crate overnight. It's not just overnight; it's also while you're literally using it. She'll just sit on top of there. And I think now she has understood that it annoys you. So if she wants something, she'll just do that.
There's Flores with this 1%er comment. Yeah, like you're probably the only person that uses the touch controls, bro. And I give you that. It's fine. Depends where your theater is located. But for me, I don't see myself walking up in front of the living room into the onto the theater to press a my button when most likely I'm going to end up with a halo on one of the walls that is going to be within the kitchen. I really like the halo in the kitchen, man. It's a great place to have that little remote control. So I'm gonna put a halo or an essence maybe, right? Because essence it's fine. You can put a first my button to whatever is the most popular, and then just the volume. But the halo, I'm actually debating if because I have the wall bracket one, right? I'm thinking I'm gonna order, or at least look on Monday tomorrow. I'm gonna look into how much does it cost to rebuild it to a battery one, because I would need the whole back, and there's a couple more things that I would need to get, and then I could convert it into the sitting remote,
Yeah.
which would be cool because then I can just plug it into the kitchen by the coffee maker and then just have it there. But I do like it on the
Well, if
on the
you were gonna
wall,
go smart home, why not just get another one?
simply because where there is plugs, there is no real logical place.
Yeah, for now, but you will use it in future regardless.
Yeah, but that's I don't know. If the problem is the one that I have doesn't rattle, right? The ring is fucking tight.
Yeah.
And the new ones have a little bit of loosey goosey on it. I don't like that, so that's why I'd rather convert that remote than build another, than buy another one, that has a little bit of rattlage going on in there. So, but yeah, maybe I'll shove it right into the front entrance. But that makes absolutely no sense either. Uh, was I gonna do the 90s setup video? Actually, that's a very good question. I thought about it. Somewhere in the annals of the boxes that I own here, there is a little clip on the tripod that I could have my phone flipped on it and do a time lapse of the pain. So, bro, call this. I spent 4 hours day before yesterday looking for the crate tool. I don't know where I put it. And I looked in that box 4 fucking times and I missed it.
Yeah. It's always how it goes, right? Like if you
So this is precious. So this is the tool that opens the box. So you can see it's branded in the fob, which is the same. That's the manufacturer of these boxes. So I have this little prying tool. I think I'm the only nerd that ordered this on ROS.
wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, dude. So I'm looking forward to using that piece of device in uncreating my Lab 90s.
I mean, you can just open those boxes with a hammer, essentially. So.
Well, yeah, but I want to keep those boxes.
Yeah,
So
most
they're
people
still
don't
gonna move.
think of moving, especially not with 90s.
Yeah, these have been moved now quite a bit. Well, not quite a bit. They only seen 2 residences, I guess.
I mean, if
But
you
the nice
want to,
thing
by
is,
the way, film the setup of the 90s, I can record it from this end. I don't even have to be in it. I can just do my own thing. Just press record. And you can just
oh yeah,
hang
through
your
the web.
webcam with some.
Okay,
You
yeah,
can
that
even
would be
use
a
the
bad
mic
idea.
so you don't have to have a mic on you. Like, it'll be shitty audio, but like, it's good enough, right?
Well, but it's probably gonna be like a Benny Hill time lapse, right? It's gonna be sped up a little bit, anyways. It's just, I think that would be nicer because, yeah, it takes about 45 minutes to uncrate a speaker.
I can put some Benny Hill music.
So that's a lot of time of just listening to or watching me going around with this little diddler around the box.
We can make it a whole live stream.
Fuck, make a live stream of unboxing the 90s.
Are you going to factory reset them or just keep them as is?
I am tempted to plug them in and listen to my old apartment tuning in here
Wouldn't
because
that be?
I never reset them.
Yeah,
So
but
I just
wouldn't
want
that
to
be
hear.
kind of counterproductive? As in, like, for the space it's in, and
No, I just want to hear how much different would they be once I factory reset them, or I'll keep one of the tunes and I'll just tune on top more, right? I don't know. I'll play around with it. It's a 4 hour thing just to get these things on the ground and situated with power up. That's basically it, because it's not just you take the boxes apart, but what do you do with them then? Like, I don't throw them out. I'm gonna put them back together and then fill them up with the theater box, the 18s, the 9,000 box. They get all the other B&O boxes that I have. I have a spare set of grills for them, and so I'm gonna load up that in there too, because that's a lot of room that it takes. And yeah, and then give them schnitzels. Hopefully they all work properly. I really didn't want to open the Beosound shape, but I think I'm gonna have to open the box where the core is, because that's where I put the link eye,
mm-hmm.
and it's the link eye for the join play, right? So that link eye works with the 90s. So then I can just use my Beo remote, put a shorting pin into the 9000, even though it's a Mark III that it'll stay in option 1 anyways. I'll put a shorting pin in it, plug in a freaking RCA and SPDIF directly into the 90s. So then I can, if I want to listen to CDs, which I will, I have access to them there. Everything is here now.
Isn't it almost
Then,
less trouble to just order another link?
No, the box is like everything's accessible. I just need to retape it, right? I'm also on the fence if do I put a BeoVision or BeoPlay B132, the little Chiquito, in my bedroom uh, with the Lab 11, or do I just go full fucking retard and put a shape on it? The shape would make it look cozy as hell, though.
Sure, but you're
Here's the
not
thing.
planning on staying there very long, so it's
No, but you know what? At the end of the day, it's if you make one hole in the wall, you can make 100. It's you got to still paint the same fucking wall. So I'm not worried about
yeah,
that. I'm not worried
one
about
versus
packing.
it's one is just like fill it and do that, right? Like nobody will see that, but
If I
100
put
is
a
like, why is this hexagonal shape here?
But if I put a V1 on there, I still have to cut drywall to put the wires in and all that shit. So regardless of what, I'm still gonna make holes in that wall. Like it's just given. But yeah, do I want to do that or do I want to put a TV? I never had a TV in the bedroom. Really wasn't a fan of it. But if I do the TV in the bedroom, then the BeoTime will work with the gateway, right? Because it's still supporting the IR on the V1. So then I can trigger a whole bunch of nonsense. But I'm also debating: do I go down the rabbit's hole of putting the Lutron in here because I dug up my keypads, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is it worth it? But
It's hard to
I don't
say
know.
when you don't know when you're gonna move out.
That's right. But I've been here for fucking years already, right? Living in that stupid nonsense space. So at least if I'm going to live here, I might as well enjoy it fully. And for me, at the end of the day, what the fuck? I'm sitting at home doing nothing but watching YouTube at night and whatever. So why not spend the time doing more of what I do during the day and install shit in my house and make it look cool? So it's a, six of one, half dozen the other, I guess.
As long as you
I
get the
don't know.
90s to play.
90s are a priority. They're gonna get as soon as I got the power in here, man. I'm gonna open them up and start setup.
Get that old Calgary dust in there.
Oh, there's no dust, dude. They're hermetically sealed, more or less. Like there's
Yeah, from the outside, not on the inside.
from the inside, I'm gonna smell the dry air of Calgary. Fudge.
Like all of a sudden, those rubber surrounds of the drivers are rehydrating.
Well, they've been here. Well, it's still climate control, but the humidity is much higher here than it's ever been in Calgary. But yeah, I'm excited to see them. I'm still debating because I have the oak and I have the smoked oak panels because the walnut weren't available back in the day. To see
Yeah,
if
because
I want
why
to
would you
order
have
a
your
certain.
wood match on all products, right?
That's such a, and also the problem that I have now is people that it feels bad for you who bought the smoked oak earlier on in life because it's a different color than the smoked oak nowadays, and then you need to have a eye of a hawk or I don't know who to be able to tell between the oak and the light oak on some instances because the fucking wood is exactly the
28
same to me.
specifically.
28s and 18s, bro, call this. You can't tell the difference. We can't tell the difference with the B&O samples provided. I honestly would put my hand on it's the same wood on two different stickers on it.
The light oak I
So
saw for 18s back in the Netherlands when that came out was really a lot lighter than this.
nowadays,
Yeah.
yeah, nowadays is not as light. I also find that
I
the
don't
walnut is
understand why
little,
they do that and keep the same name. Call it something else.
or did they just run out of certain section of the wood forest that they have that particular species of lighter wood, or I don't know. Like
Yeah, but surely with the dark oak or smoked oak being darker is a function of smoking it longer.
I don't think it's even smoked. I think it's just a stain, dude.
Well, if it's stain, then it's the application of stain, right?
Exactly, just lighten up a couple tones of uh, shade, I guess, and I don't know. I think that they should do a better job in color matching their grills because it's starting to get really annoying, especially when people that buy a smoked oak theater, which is a custom grill, right? And then you get the smoked oak on something else, and it kind of doesn't match, or dark oak versus dark oak is different. Uh, there's a big discrepancy with that. I don't like it. It should be more coherent and more unified, and I don't think that it's a quality control problem. It's more or less like somebody in the whatever department of color they have there, that they need to inspect it more and just commit to the. I'm sure BNO, you're pulling in 100 years almost. I'm sure you're well aware of the fact that how long your products exist within the client's environment when they buy them, right? 15, 20 years, depends. TV is not as much, but let's face the fact, Beosound Theater is no longer to me considered a Beovision as once was, because that's just a sound system with the motorized floor stand as I see it here, with an exchangeable panel. Still the app stops working, I guess, right?
Yeah, the reason I'm stuck with oak is that I bought one thing in oak and then everything has to match, and so far it has always done.
Mm-hmm.
But
Well,
it's
it's the same for me. I committed to a really awkward color on or a species of wood, which is walnut, right?
yeah,
Which I can't really get much from walnut. Like, would love to have level in a walnut color. That would look sweet. I would love to have an emerge in walnut instead of the black anthracite. Like, keep the black anthracite, just put the walnut size on it. But yeah, they don't have that option. Like, apparently there's a black anthracite option for level that you can buy, but it's no longer nowhere advertised. Which that would be looking cool in my place, in the in the bathroom, especially where I have level. I would put the the oak cover and black anthracite uh, aluminum trim, because everything is oak and black accents in the bathroom. So it will work. Instead, I just put it in a black immersion. That's it. It just kind of looks, unsuspicious. And quite honestly, it's a bathroom. It's funny how much different the sound signature is compared now. Like emerged to a Beosound One, because I unboxed the Beosound One. The Beosound One shines in an open space freestanding, but from
yeah,
about
partially
two
because of the
meters
lens
away.
on top. Yeah,
Yeah, but from about 2 meters away, like, it sounds really good. It's got enough bass and so on. Emerge is obviously a little different, but then you stereo pair the emerges and they'll kick the shit out of the Beosound One. But Beosound One just looks more mature and elegant, I would say. It's a I don't know. It's a shame that it's gone, because I think I understand that the more or less Emerge had replaced it in a sense.
I'm still not super fond of the emerge for several reasons. Uh,
Why?
I don't like how it looks. It's kind of plasticky. Even the wood one sort of feels plasticky. Like the Beosound 1 is nicer in every which way to touch, to use the volume ring.
Well, it's more defined BNO, in my opinion,
Yeah.
right?
Then the way it falls on its ass when you go over 60% volume.
Yeah.
It
Though I would say something that I just can't say, so we're gonna wait till October 15th, and then I'm gonna be able to say it. Okay.
uh
And I had really changed my opinion with what how I perceived that product before uh, I was able to say what I'm gonna say. That's it. So stay tuned, people. I don't think you can afford an aluminium on the. Sorry, I think Matt's talking about Beosound too, but on the Emerge, I don't think you can afford to go with aluminium, because you would cover completely the Wi-Fi capabilities of that speaker.
yeah.
So it's very material dependent as far as what the finish on that speaker is, because you can only go with wood or plastic or RF translucent materials per se. Because in Beosound 1 and 2, quite honestly, if you take those two slats on the on the sides and you cover them with your hands, and or two sets of hands and two people hug them, the Wi-Fi will cut off. It loses connection, because that's where the antennae are placed on each side. So that's the different trick, I guess, with the Beosound 2 and 1, as far as the how they got away with murder on that side of things.
I mean, I part of my dislike is that the standard comparison is an Emerge versus a Beosound 1 is not a... It's not really a one for the other upgrade comparison, whatever you want to call it, right? Because one's mobile, one isn't. Yeah.
I like the Beosound. I like the Mark II. I understand the Mark II, Mark One that I have. Mark II sounded better because it was a little different, but then it had that googly nonsense in it.
But you don't know unless you have them next to each other.
Exactly. So for me, the way I'm used to that sound signature, and it's not even that for me. It's just it looks very very nice. I used to have a brass tone, and years ago, when the Piano Black edition came out and they sold out immediately, I was still smart enough and lucky enough that I caught the ROS just in time to order replacement chassis. So I bought the ring, the volume ring, and the main cone in Piano Black, and I rebuilt my Beosound one from brass stone, which I dislike that color immensely, into a Piano Black, which looks fucking baller, man. My girlfriend really like she left her eyeballs on it, right? Because she really likes the black stuff. So she's already like going around petting it like, don't you fucking think about it even. I thought about giving it to her, but no, I like it too much. I like it too much. I don't know where I'm gonna put it, but
You should get an A5.
why?
Because I think it's the best speaker they currently have on sale at the moment. That is reasonable in price, great in
Well,
performance.
I can get a better reasonable price any time of the day, more or less, by the default of who I'm affiliated with professionally. But what am I gonna run around pick berries in woods with this? Like, I don't need
No, but
a
it can just
picnic.
sit in your kitchen.
Dude, I'm between a level and a Beosound one in the kitchen right now, and 7 feet away from that are fucking set of 90s with a theater and 18s.
Yeah, so that never mattered before. Why does it matter now?
No, it doesn't. But I have not that I have a limited counter space, but I kind of want to keep it on the minimum.
I don't know.
I'm
Put it in your storage locker so when you're packing up shit, that thing is playing.
I had a Beosound one in the storage while I was working there. Yeah. Mainly because you can just move it out of the way and not damage it or whatever, and it doesn't care because it's battery. And they kind of wanted to see if the battery's fine, so I had it running on the battery. I forgot how long it went, and it wasn't long enough that I just forgot and I plugged it back in. So everything's working. Nothing's got negatively affected after being sitting in the storage locker for 2.5 years. I lost one Itala vase, which had already a splinter crack in it when I was packing it in, and I didn't think that it would make it, and it did not. So that's not a tragedy to lose a $200 vase or a thing, right? Glass vase out of all the shit that I brought across the entire country. That's a pretty good track record.
Yeah.
So I don't know why they came out with the regular oak lamellae, right? And there's still not a dot on the Beosound A5 website page to be able to not just go with Nordic weave, but also the light oak or regular oak instead of just the dark oak. But you can buy the dark oak grills, which in my opinion are manufacturing wise a little bit more demanding than the Beolab 8, and they are half the price for a pair. Not a pair because there's two shells, right? So they're
Yeah.
half the price, which I don't understand. I just cannot get over the justification of why are the Lab 8 grills so prohibitively expensive.
Maybe there's some Danish tax on magnets or something.
Or is it they're CNC machining it because of the curvature of those lamellae and they're individually made, just like I guess that company does them with the aluminum grills? I don't know. I've never really seen the manufacturing process of the grills, but I would love to see that. I would love to see a little short video. You should make it and simply just to help people justify the enormous cost of that particular piece of accessory.
Because they're more
It,
expensive than 18 oak covers, aren't they?
yes,
Which makes no sense to me at all.
because 18s are put together by hand with screws and stuff. Like
Yeah,
it's
but it's
not.
also ridiculously thin wood that you would think has a much higher fail rate if you like bend it, step on it, ding it, whatever, right?
Put a screw in it or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't understand.
I mean, just how do you get a cutting anything in wood that thin is hard because like at some point you just have to have a little bit of a knot or something and it'll just splinter and shatter.
That's it. Yeah, I wonder how they do that. But I definitely think that they should consider making a video about how the BeoLab 8 grills are made and help to ease the pain with just a little bit more understanding to what I'm paying for that or what I'm paying for.
For the people in the chat that don't own a Beosound A5, do you want one? Would you like to buy one? Or is it sort of like, nah, it's not my thing?
I find, like, for me, the purpose that this would fulfill is I would have it in my bedroom on a nightstand, but then where do you put the lamp? But I would somewhere in the bedroom because I would put my phone on it every night
Yeah,
to
that
charge,
works.
which is a fucking ridiculous $1,300 cheap charger at the end of the day for
Well, you
me.
could set your radio or alarm clock on it.
Yeah, but why would I do that when I have a BeoTime triggering the TV and shit and things and
Guest
whatnots and
room,
fuck the
hallway.
office? Yeah.
I mean, compared to like a level, right? Like the level is more money. The
Mm.
A5, in my opinion, sounds quite a bit better. It's much sturdier.
But I give the level the profile, man, because nothing I could fit on that thin ass little ledge in my bathroom than the level or the emerge. But the emerge has to be sideways, where level was perfectly flat. Like when you're shaving or brushing your teeth, it's directly in front of you. I don't like this purple nonsense.
It looks great on 28s, weirdly.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's in the London flagship store.
Hmm. I really wish there was a way to just delete the GVA from my level. That is a GVA. I don't know if I need to order a specifically different Mozart chip or is that what it's at?
I think so. I think it would be the PCB board without the GVA thing, but that would potentially also give you a different serial number.
I could give a shit less about the serial number, bro.
No, but it may matter for their side. Like, so I don't know if this is just a replacement part or if this is like you need to send it in and you need to copy paste the serial number into a new chip.
Yeah, that probably could be done through PHC anyways. But yeah, I would really like to delete that nonsense because it's a great product without it. I just hate the fact that it doesn't. Like when I first came in here, and I had a factory reset because I thought I want to sell it at some point, so I just had it in the box. No fucking way that you can turn on the Bluetooth on it because it's not set up with Google Home. It will not join the hotspot because there's no Wi-Fi networks to be joined apparently. So yeah, it was a real pain in the dick, and then I just ended up using the Emerge with the Bluetooth connection to it because that was set up on the. I never reset it, so the Google communism didn't really affect it. But it's no, not fun. I'm not a fan of that
I
Google
may have
crap.
to get these oak covers for the
They
A5.
look really nice. We have a set of them in the shop. I've put them on. We swapped out the Nordic weave for that. It looks very chic. I like it. I like it more than I like the Nordic weave. And specifically, I guess people that are watching the show, I'm sure have a certain level of OCD in them, anyways. The Nordic weave, when it comes together, you have two little dark spots where the grills meet on the top and bottom in the centers, where that doesn't exist with the oak and dark oak covers because the slats are cut straight. So the gapping is identical, so you can't tell where the grills come together.
Weird question. Do you know if you can mix and match covers?
What do you mean?
Like use, let's say, half a clam of this and then the other half clam of
Yeah. We
whatever
had
else.
the Nordic weave done like that. Front was Nordic and back was oak.
Because that could lead to some interesting like combinations potentially.
Yeah.
I mean, it is kind of expensive though. $380 for.
Not comparatively to the, like, if you think about the Lab 8s, this is a fraction cost. How much are those?
The Nordic Weave is
520.
$160.
That's not expensive at all. What's the other one? The aluminium is stupid. No, 500.
530.
College.
380 for the dark oak, 380
Yeah,
for
but
the
when you
normal
look
oak.
at that aluminium, dude, the way that has to be made is just unbelievably painful.
By the way, this kit doesn't include the handle.
No, you just get a box with two grills in them, nicely packed with a little silica package for
Because
dryness.
you can buy the handles separately as well.
Yes. $100.
160 for the aluminium handle. Pricey.
Wow, fuck, man. It's not hard to bend wood like that.
This makes me think I would almost rather buy a second A5 with just the oak on it.
But they don't have one like that as an option. That's what I'm saying. Like, they should have that in the portfolio.
I'm sure I
as
can
a
convince
fourth.
some dealer to do that as a standard option.
No, I understand that, but it's still like something that should be done.
Oh, I agree.
By default, in my opinion. I wonder about the UV light in here. It's not bright. Like, I have to. It's still bright enough, but it's like I have this. The blinds are down. It's gonna fade my freaking wood, bro. But I don't know, man. I'm excited about opening these sons of bitches up. I need to get these electricians sorted out quick because now I'm itching. I'm staring behind the computers and a Gucci table still in the back, in a box. And then I got the bench here. Like, it's all ready to be set up. I'm actually thinking, I don't know what to do. I have a Beosystem 2400 with a tape deck in mint, more or less condition for its age. And I have a brand new rebuilt Beocenter 9000. I think I'm going to just list them on Marketplace and get rid of it. Because I don't need it. What am I going to do with the Beocenter 9000? Gonna get into tapes? Where do we even buy tapes no more?
I don't know. Play that singular CD.
That's it. And some AM/FM radio. Or I'll bring it to the shop and put it in the back room where the museum is. We got like a whole bunch of other old school pieces. Just let them die there. But it's kind of shitty because, or a shame, because it's the glass is re-glued. The thing is brand new basically,
Sell
and from the
it.
inside. Yeah. So
Make some money. Surely
anyways, if
somebody
anybody
will love it. There's a ton of people that go for that 80s sort of. Was
vibe.
it Patrick Bateman aesthetic?
So yeah, if
That's,
anybody is interested, ping me on the emails.
Is it that American Psycho aesthetic?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you could argue B&O even kind of did with the new 9000 and the 28s that go with it. With the girl smoking and in the leather.
Yeah.
Lenny asks, hey guys, long time no see. Hi, Lenny. A quick question. Could you use the Beosound shaped tiles just as rear surround speakers? So no BeoConnect core, just direct power link connection from the theater to the amplifier. Yes, you can.
But you can only do it with up to 4 speakers, one amp tile. There's no way. unless you do 2 amps and 4 or 8 speaker tiles, right? So then you can have 1 amp for left and 1 amp for right. But the limitation is one amplifier can only do 4 tiles. Like it doesn't work like if you have a, let's say, 12 speaker tile shape with 3 amps and you expect that to plug in as a surround, it will not work. And definitely not with a new system or a new BeoConnect core.
It'll be nice if you have 2 amps and 4 speakers on each side.
Mm-hmm.
But there's no inherent problem with that. I mean, you can run a third power link cable, right, for your third amp and another 4 speakers.
Yeah. But I'm saying that you cannot use that as a sole shape configuration. It's just their rear surrounds at that point. They will never be able to do, have a BeoConnect core plugged into them through the COM ports, because then the roles of those amplifiers changed and it's not, it won't work.
Yeah, but that's kind of what he's asking, right? And not have that in the first place anyway.
Yeah, and then you can do that. And if you want to do them with the WISA, then you just need a cable made that splits the left and the right, because WISA receivers or BeoLab receivers that they make, the left and right power link is injected out of the receiver, but it's one channel only.
Yeah.
You can't tell it it's a left and right.
You can do 1 amp with 2 speakers or 1 speaker either side. You just need to borrow a core from your dealer to set it up.
No, not if the speaker is out of the box. I mean the amp.
Well, I take it you wouldn't buy it secondhand. I've never seen the shape secondhand yet.
No, I don't think you ever will for a long time.
Either way, worst case scenario, you need to borrow a core from a dealer for like the initial setup and then you give it back, right? Like, This is a common thing. There are other people that bought shapes without cores in them.
Yes. And it works, so it's not a big deal. And quite honestly, like some showrooms actually have the shape tiles speakers as their surround channels or even fronts. And I think we have a couple of viewers on the podcast that use the shape as a front left and right speakers. I don't remember what TV they had between it, but yeah. The only other option, I guess, Lenny, you would have that I can think of is secondhand market for the lap 12s. That would be something.
If you like a shape, just get a shape. Nobody will ever suspect them of being speakers.
So, what Josh was saying, the guys that recently went for a Beosound level or the A5 over the A5. Did I make an error? I don't think you made a mistake, bro. I think level sounds great. It's definitely, in my opinion, level is more defined of a sound than the A5. But it won't beat it on the bass line because obviously there's a bigger woofer inside the A5. But then I think the use cases are completely different, where the A5 is more or less, it's rugged enough to be carried around outside and be able to stand on a piece of patch of grass and so on. Level, not so much. But then level fits in things and places where the A5 not necessarily would. So,
I mean, if you travel a lot and you don't want to, like, actually travel, right? I would take a level over an A5 too.
Any day of the week, because you can slip it in the. It
in
actually
a backpack
fits
or
in
whatever.
like in my Oakley backpack that I have, that is made for like I think a 15-inch Mac to fit in that laptop sleeve. Level comfortably slips inside it.
Yeah, because I mean, for your regular on the go round the house, I much prefer my A5. Because like you just set it down. But if I'm thinking about using my A5 like where I have to haul it on a plane, often it's like, yeah, no. I mean, if it's a one-time thing, okay. But if it's like I'm gonna fly with this thing 2-3 times a month, let's say, yeah, I'll buy something else.
No, I wouldn't do it. I would go all the way down to the burger, the A1, if I were to do it that often. But and the only reason why, because they break your balls in the fucking the security check-in, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, the level, I like it, man. I never really had a purpose for it till now, and it's funny obviously you can't compare it to the Emerge, but there's way more presence to it than the Emerge has. And for me, I like it. It makes sense because I can move it without interrupting music because it's got an internal battery, right? So you can move it, you can take the power supply with it and plug it in somewhere else in another room, and off to the races you go. And I like it more because it's more elegant as far as the touch interface goes on top. It's nice, but the A5 lacks, right? Obviously, there's a cost offset to it, and not that the finish, but the design finish suffers at the end, or the refinement of the finish. But then again, I think it's a bigger feels bad when you fuck up a level when you dent it than an A5. So
Yeah, but it's much easier to carry. Yeah.
are dampers necessary? No, I don't think they are. I honestly, to this day, I have not received a. I don't think that's even possible to receive a dB value from BNO of how much does the shape affect the acoustics and reflection in your environment, because that's impossible to gauge based on what it needs to be how big your room is and what you have in the room and yada 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 yada. But it does help the echo if you put the tile in or the dampeners inside. You can go wrong.
But I also don't
But
think B&O can give you that value because it depends what your wall is made out of.
it depends on so many things. There's no way you're going to get that value. Like, they
Yeah.
can give you that value what we measured in the cube. Nobody lives in the fucking cube. Well, Jeff Martin, but you don't really. Yeah.
He can probably at work listen if he's sick or not because he hears his heart rate change.
But yeah, that's an impossible value to obtain, in my opinion, and it's something that what you don't figure out till you put it on the wall. It's not going to be acoustically dead like there's nobody's business. I found a little bit of difference with 12 tiles in my old bedroom, but I also had a carpet and a big ass bed in there, and I didn't have any drapes, so there was no fabric hanging on the walls. But yeah, it was quite a bit.
You get that nice glass reflection. So for the
Mm.
minimal setup, yeah, an amplifier and 2 speakers is the absolute minimum. So I guess you can do it with 3 tiles if you want to go ultra minimal.
Yeah, if you want to go cheesy, I'd go 6. I would put two speakers.
I mean, you're going to get a
Uh,
much better effect if you have at least 2 speakers per side, I would say. But
no, I wouldn't even consider going one each. It's no way. That's too little. You're spending way too much money for what the effect is essentially out of it, and you're utilizing only half the capability of the amplifier to begin with, which to me is a sacrilege. Like, if you are going to commit on the wall to that extent, then just squeeze the fucking wallet, buy 4 speakers, 6 tiles, and then you have one extra, to hide your. If you need be, you can hide 2 BeoLab receivers inside and go from there. Does the new core improve the sound of the shape? Stefan is asking. Hey, Stefan. Yes, it
yes,
does by a long shot. I was fucking surprised myself because I was one of the first ones that was able to do this A to B comparison in our showroom. On one Monday, I ripped out the old core, but I've listened to a couple things on it, and then I put the new core in, and the definition, the dynamics is much better. It's much crisper on the higher end, and I wouldn't say it's a tighter bass. I think the bass sounds the same to me, more or less. It's more defined, but yeah, there is a noticeably audible improvement in sound performance on the shape, 100%. And it also is much simpler to set it up because the dedicated COM port that comes out of the shape, I mean the BeoConnect core, it just daisy chains into the amp. So there's no more master slave amplifier scenario where it's just all handled from the Connect core. Could you have longer cables between the amp
Yes,
and the
you can.
speakers. What's connection? Is it P and not PL? No, it's a regular. Well, it's not a regular. B&O has their own Beosound shape cable. You can buy it on the spool. You can buy 100 meters of it, which I don't know what you're gonna do with the rest of the 90 that you're gonna have left. You can buy them from your dealer, but essentially it's a 4 conductor cable. I believe it's a solid core from what I remember in I haven't done a shape in a long time. I think it's a solid core wire. It's easier to put into these little goofy small Molex connector. It's a unique B&O color coding, so it matches the terminal colors on the Molex connectors that come with the shape because they're a specific size. But you're not really limited by the length, I don't believe. It's
I think Steve measured it
obviously,
out
yeah,
before there's electrical issues. It's 21 meters or so per cable.
yeah, that's insane. So that's
And if you
insane.
can do that, then like, why the hell are you fretting over 1 or 2 speakers aside, right?
Hmm. Well, that's another thing that I've been considering, that if I'm gonna fuck up a wall, do I do it? Because if I did this wall where in the living room on this other side, right, I would build the shape here. Then I could put the halo on the wall as well, because then I could run that cable into the empty tile where the power would be connected to the shape, right? So I can only have one hole and then 3 small holes to where the shape, the halo remote would have been. And then I would have to buy an extra Beosound, Beolab receiver, make the cable, and then use the shape tiles or use the 2 pairs of the speakers that I have in the shape as the rear surround channels, which would be kind of cool.
Whatever you do, don't put them in the concrete wall.
What do you mean?
Well, if you have to patch that to its original state if you leave, right? That's so goddamn hard.
No, no, that's not. There had been a thought that crossed my mind to put. I think we still have a ceiling bracket for the V1, and to do it in the bedroom. And then I thought about, like, because it's open ceiling and concrete on the top, right? Like I would do it's 6 holes that I would have to drill in. It's fixable. A little bit of putty and craft paint. You can make it look good.
I mean, if
But
if you owned the place, I would say go for it, do
oh
whatever you
yeah.
feel like. But if you
So
have to get
Sergey
it
has a
back,
shape. Yeah, back to the shape. It's a death. That sucks. Sergey says I use my shape as back channels over voice. It sounds very good. 8 speakers. Yeah, 8 speakers is quite a bit. So you have uh fact that makes more sense to do 2 amplifiers with 2 or 4 speakers on each side, because then you're feeding one transmitter to all 4 channels because it's mono out of the transmitter. Then you don't have to goof around with the cables. That's a But then again, that's another 3 grand or 5 grand or whatever it is on top that I have to inject into
he's
this.
in the intro. That's
Yeah,
him.
that's a big ass shape.
It's a good shape.
It's in a very good shape. I wish they did the walnut woods as well instead of just the dark oak or light oak. Like, why can we not be a little more inventive or progressive with the shape? Like, it's a great system. It just received the best update of its lifetime to get a freaking a Mozart platform driver for it. I don't understand why we don't expand more on the not just the fabrics but the wood species. I think that makes more sense.
I don't know. Maybe sales are slow.
But it's their fault, bro, because they undersell that. They under promote the shape. They completely under promote the shape. I don't even know what is cool now from the B&O other than, like, when you go to the top set, they show all the little things. Like if you want to look at the 90s, you got to scroll 15 screens worth of nonsense on your phone before you get to the 50s, 90s, and the Gravy Train. So
I agree, but I'm not saying all, but I get the feeling that there's a lot of people within B&O that sort of go like, it's obvious so great that surely this should sell itself, and if it doesn't sell, it's not an us problem, it's a you problem.
Yeah, because you don't understand how great it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
And
that
it's
comes
one of
through
the few
advertising.
companies that ever works like this. They sort of go, ta-da! Wait, you don't understand how genius it is?
Too bad.
Yeah. And it's like,
Too bad.
and then you look at figures and quarterlies and whatnot, and you go,
Some
maybe
ain't right
be a
here.
bit more of a normal company in certain areas.
Yeah. So, but yeah, that's a thought that hasn't crossed my mind. Well, it kind of has, to put the shape up here. Hmm. Hmm.
Um,
But I might leave it in the box. But here, I'm a firm believer that the more I unpack, the more I get lived in here, the faster the process will occur. That's just Murphy's Law, man. And I'll fucking play
yeah.
his game. I'll play the game at this point. Because of the room composition of the theater, could you mount the shape on different heights? It's a weird room setup behind the couch. It's the hallway in the room, and in the room is no rectangle shape. You can mount the tile like the shape. The theater's microphone does not account for height of the speakers. It just accounts from the distance and the dB measurement. That's basically it. That's why if you have Atmos speakers in the ceiling, it kind of totally goofs up your entire channel allocation across from the microphone, because it thinks that whatever speaker is closer and further, then it just changes roles, and you have to go in and physically edit and assign the height speakers and all the other roles that I find from my personal experience. So yeah, that's the height of them wouldn't matter. It would matter to you as a listener, because you can tell microphones can't, because it's only one point of I guess measurement for the mic, where you have two ears on your head, hopefully, and you can tell where that sound is coming from much more accurately. And that's, I think, yeah, that will not be compensated for by the theater. Now, if you have the shape tiles that are completely all the way reaching the ceiling, then I would assume that you'd be smart enough to assign those as rear Atmos heights per se, or ceiling heights, rears. But other than that, I don't know. There's not much you can do about it. And at the end of the day, whatever the theater does presets, I believe that it's still it's just a generic cup of tea, and it's up to you to put milk and sugar in it as much as you prefer. So,
I mean, this is an old one from Henrik. You can make just about. The beauty of the shape is you can make just about any shape you want, literally.
mhm,
Like, if you wanted to, like, if you have like a weird room with an opening behind you, you can just make like these wall panels, right? You can just make one shape straight up and the other also straight up or
yep.
left to right or whatever. It's up to you. I mean,
World's your oyster.
again, in the marketing that they once mentioned once it came out, it's the shape because you can make the shape you want to make with the shape that is available to make the shape the shape.
Exactly.
So,
No, it's a great product. I think the biggest thing is that people get scared of it is the amount of options, and the fact that you need to at some point agree with yourself and how it's going to look like at the end.
yeah.
And I think the best doctor to that is an interior designer, because then you have a guidance of somebody else's opinion that you hired to get that opinion. So you tend to listen to that and respect it more. And for some reason, I've said that a number of times on the podcast, the goddamn interior designers just have this incredible godlike power over the client when it comes to, how things are going to be set. And there's been some, disagreements that I've had over the years with the interior designers, because they have no fucking idea, to be honest. about how things work, and they all about the feng shui and whatever. And to them, nothing plugs in because you don't really. Well, now it's a little different because you do have electrically reclined couches and shit that you need to account for plugs and whatever in the floor. But generally, you don't gotta plug in your Eames chair to shit,
No.
and your coffee tables and your all these accessories and trinkets and nonsense. To them, it's that's important, and but it's irrelevant of placement versus where the mains outlets are. Where if you're looking at something that is also interior design but like a shape, well, shit, where do we put it? Where's the outlet? How do we get the power to it, and so on and so forth. And then you start arguments with the
Here you
designers.
have
And
so many shitty couches that have like LED rings in the cup holders and or chilling cup holders into the couch and stuff like that. And it's like,
no, like, welcome to America, bro.
it's but then you look at the couch and it's like, this is such shit quality. Like, what the fuck are we doing here?
Yeah, like the Sears ones, the grade, whatever, I guess, or
Yeah.
I don't know. Does the brick exist? I think it's just a Canadian brand.
I don't even look at this stuff anymore. I mean, some even have like a little running fridge in the middle, right? Where you like open your armrest and you can get your cold drinks out of like this little mini fridge and stuff like that.
Fuck, I remember when we first moved to Canada, my parents, my uncle, my dad's brother took my dad and us to the brick to go buy a TV, a couch, and they had a fuck deal. So we bought the TV, the couch, and they gave us the Bose 321 surround system for free. And that's how it was my first Bose system against my will, essentially. And well, no, second one because I had the cubes already, so it was kind of on the Kool-Aid with the North America. And then 2001, 2002, I discovered B&O finally in Canada. That was it.
I think the price for the shape is so up in the air with what you use that I think you can just use the creator tool that's on the website for it.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, Digibricks. Yeah, you remember going to the brick? Yeah, it's a Canadian. Yeah, you can buy a shit couch, shit TV, and a shit sound system all in one basket, all in one pallet, and then you go get a ticket, and then you go to across like around the building back, and then they drop it all in your van and give you a good hug and a high five and goodbye. Or the brick guys would drop it in. But yeah, it's a very Canadian experience, I guess, as far as the brick. But yeah.
Hurricane Bjorn, if I'm saying that. What multi-room devices work best together? Balance shape, A9, A5. What's your experience? Pretty much all of them over all generations work fine together.
The only thing that I would say that will affect the experience really is your network. That's it. It's got nothing to do with the network link and all that, because all this stuff works, man. Like if you can pull Tidal onto the level from an emerge or a theater, that all works. It's got no issues whatsoever. It's just the limitation comes down to what you use for your network. If your network is shit, that's the end of it. That's the end of the experience. Doesn't matter what you have.
Yeah, I got
So
M3's Beosound 2 Mark 1. I got a Moment. I've got a BeoConnect Core, a stage, a theater. It all connects together fine. No problem. The A5, no issues.
mm.
I mean, there was an issue like a while ago, but like a year and a half ago when Mozart was a lot newer, right? But like once they fixed
Well, and
that,
the whole talk of abandoning network link that just backfired in B&O completely. It's just that's insanity. Whoever had that idea, just beat that out of your head. Yeah, ubiquity is it's not even just the Wi-Fi suggestion. It is a recommended network infrastructure now by B&O. I remember generations of different brands. I remember when the network link was first introduced, and before that, even when the Playmaker, the Callis, the Playmaker came out, they sent us a Netgear pre-configured router because it was such a pain in the behind to even set this thing up. with AirPlay, and we had a separate network, and that was still like that was the infancy of B&Os dabbling into the network infrastructure gear, because we're still solid on the Masterlink. And then it was Package that they had moved into, which was unbelievably overpriced for what it did compared to Ubiquity, which we had discovered. We've discovered Ubiquity, I think, in 2011, when they were not relatively fresh brand, but they were a fresh brand. But it was one of those brands that had a very good reviews, and the Wi-Fi coverage was insane based on what it was, and it was a commercial grade system. I found out essentially, I think, that they used them in Kansai Airport in Japan, and for me that was a good enough sale point that, you know what, we'll try it out. And the whole quest of how that came about was, at the time, my installer Chris in the old Calgary B&O store, he was living in the acreage, and the last 6 passes on the lawnmower were outside of the Wi-Fi range, so his Spotify Connect fucked off on him. And that was a search and quest to find a Wi-Fi transmitter antennae access points that are strong enough to push a full acre. And that's where we found the Ubiquity, and we stuck with it. And I quite honestly, I've had people that had those systems for years. And yes, some of them are still on 2.4 gigahertz because it's never failed. Some have replaced them to 5 gigs. Some run the hybrids. It really depends. There's MIMO ones that are ultra fast, and then there's long range ones that have a much higher transmission rate. But then you're more or less dependent on how strong your devices that are receiving that signal are able to communicate back.
I run a U6 Pro AP, and the 2.4 and 5 gigahertz are banded together into the same network, and I let Ubiquity do its thing, and it's never failed me.
No, I had the same. I only had one. I had a BeoNet in my house. It was 2.4 and 5 gig. I let that shit settle itself and figure itself out. The only thing that I would say, like as far as the configuration setup and exercise with Ubiquity, is that it's almost like B&O. It takes time. It takes time, and when you set it up, you kind of just leave it alone and you let it fucking settle and figure it out. It takes sometimes a couple hours. Like I usually would set up the system and then just leave it with the client overnight. I'm like, listen, don't touch nothing. Leave it for what it is. And once it's all locked in proper, man, it's never has a problem. It never has a problem. I've seen few that the hardware died, but that's just at the amount of that we were doing, it was obviously something that will happen no matter what.
I must also say, if you live smaller, Ubiquity has the Amplify HD line, and I used that before, and that also worked flawlessly. It has nowhere near the amount of features, obviously, because it's just a small box. But it worked just fine. Again, Ubiquity is not the fastest of throughputs and that sort of thing, but it makes up for it in stability.
100%. 100%.
So if you're like spec gazing, like I don't know, you have a gigabit line coming in, right, and you want a gigabit over Wi-Fi, Ubiquity is generally not the one for you, because you'll lose, I don't know, 15-20% at times, depending on where you are. But you'll get that all the time.
Yes. I've had Ubiquity my entire existence in the old apartment, 6 years, and none of that failed. Actually, all of that equipment I had repurposed in my mom's place, which has been working since then. So I can't say that, all I can say about Ubiquity, it is the most rock solid network experience product that I had ever had come across. Period.
Yeah. I mean, I used to have, what are they called again? The Netgear Nighthawk, whatever gaming router, right?
Yeah, the one that looked like fucking Transformer with all these antennae in the back and front. And
in my old apartment, the speed, if you were in line of sight, was bloody amazing. But all the walls were concrete. So if you went around a corner, like, I remember, like, it mattered if I laid like this in bed looking when the router was there, or if I turned, because that difference was like 80 MBS or something like that.
just get irradiated through your skull trying to push.
I would literally go from like 360p to like full 4K by switching sides and how I
by
laid
laying
on
on.
in
Yeah,
bed.
that's not the way to live the life, bro.
Put in the amplify and it was fine. I was like, even laying like this, it was like over 180 Mbps.
So stick with the ubiquity. Whoever has it, whoever doesn't, you can set it up. It's very, very simple. I think that no, well, you should join the Discord. That goes without saying. And I think I don't know if I did, but if not, I will push or update the documentation channel, and I'll put in the recommended ubiquity setup for BNO. So then you guys can take the resource material there and study it and set your system up to be even more solid than is now if need be.
There's
But
also quite a fair few people with shapes on Discord, so.
mhm. No, Shape is a great music system, and it's something that just it adds so much more to the presence of the home. So much more. I don't know, man. I'm debating. I'm really debating to put the Shape up on the wall instead of the bloody V1.
Just
But
have a TV. The missus
but
will lay in bed with you more often if you have
exactly.
that.
Well, I don't fucking do that. That's like it's more or less for
You
her. Like
don't, but
she's
she
staying here.
does.
Yeah, that's right. But like I just
I have
don't
the
get
same
it.
issue. That's why I have a TV in the bedroom. It's
I
nice.
just don't get it, bro. You got fucking 90s and the 65-inch panel, full surround, all that shit. You're gonna go sit in a goddamn room with a 32-inch screen and a Lab 11 on the bottom.
There's
Trying
something
to,
about that vibe where, like, there's
I guess,
potential. There's
you
a
know,
potential that you don't have in your Eames chair.
fair enough. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'll slap the Shape on this wall. It'll look freaking sick, and just forget the BeoConnect core and just put another receiver into it and go from there. I think. I think that be it, Mike. I like the Shape. People, you should buy Shape. Go call your dealer tomorrow and get fucking 12 tiles. Who cares?
Of
You live
speakers.
on. So yeah, that's it.
I mean, I would really love a Shape, but I'm to the point where I'm just filling up walls in rooms I don't really often go in at this point.
Mm.
Which is like I'm not opposed to, but when I would buy a Shape, it would be quite big, and then it's like, am I really putting like, I don't know, 10 grand into a room I don't really go into?
You probably would end up going in there.
No, because I have 450s in the living room.
Yeah, put it in the bedroom or bathroom. Like a little 6 tile poquito.
Yeah, maybe.
There you go. See, that's a weird shape. There's too many gaps. That's too like.
Yeah, but
scattered.
again, if that's what you like,
Yeah.
you can do that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's your shape. Make whatever shape you want.
And Skinny Play, I think, has the tile covers too, right? That they print.
Yep, absolutely. I mean, you can do something like this.
That would be cool.
I mean, Christian said earlier that he has surround height channels through Shape with the whatchamacallit, the amplifier down below.
Yeah, for me, it's just not an option because there's nowhere to hide the wires in the concrete, and I'm not doing the conduit stuff and blah blah blah. The only way I could do the height channels is to put a BeoLab 4 here and BeoLab 4 there.
Hide those cables in the concrete.
How?
Get that pre-made concrete caulk that is literally concrete, and then you just tape them on and then put the concrete caulk over the wire.
No, I wouldn't even. No, that's not an option here. Once I get somewhere, there is more of a permanent place for a few years, I'll do that. I don't think I'll even bother with the shape going on the ceilings. I don't know. I'd probably end up doing something like you're doing with maybe a set of lab 8s as heights, or buy another set of BeoLab 4s, because who gives a shit? It's the height channels. Like, how much are you gonna get out of it?
I mean, I'm still looking at getting 8s for no apparent reason, really. Because I do like 8s, but like I would put them in the kitchen probably, and get my Beosound 2 somewhere else. I don't know where just yet.
Yeah. Cecile, should I use True Image for movies? Well, if I were to give you a piano answer, then yes. Personal preference, I like the direct mode. For whatever reason, it just sounds better. I don't
Depends on which
know.
TV you're talking about. If it's theater, then you can go either way. For Harmony and Eclipse, I would use True Image always.
Yes, but for theater, it's I think it's very source specific, and I understand that if you have just one speaker preset and you leave it on True Image and it's configured correctly, or not correctly, but it's configured well enough, you won't really notice the much difference if you're not one of those people that are very adamant about having proper channel allocation. And your True Image does a very good job at doing that. But if you have, you know, for me, I can't really tell. Like, I used to listen to it with it in a direct mode, and it sounded better with the Atmos uh, in the old fucking studio. But now I really can't answer that because I haven't listened to the. I haven't had an experience with the theater in the 90s yet. I've had an experience tuning it, but that's not something that you just, sit at client's house and watch a fucking Saving Private Ryan in Dolby Atmos. That's not going to happen. So, and that's going to happen here. I can get and dang on to you that. So once that happens, then I'll be able to tell you. But right now, I don't know. I didn't really have front speakers other than the theater in the old condo. So it's going to be a full surround system here, and we'll see where the buck will take it. But I'm strongly debating to. I don't know about the window, like, because there is a little bit of a shiitake mushrooms, but I might be able to squeeze a Beolab 4 up there. Because I think I have ceiling brackets still.
This is a
Why?
Philips Hue behind it.
That's fucking cool.
If you have more tiles than you technically need for the speaker and amp and or core, right? Like you can add a controller and stuff like this. You can all put it in like because they're essentially empty boxes.
Mm-hmm.
So the world's your oyster in that sense.
Whoever posted that, I don't know if you're in chat or not,
Bang
but
&
I
Olufsen
wonder.
Ealing.
I wonder if they actually mounted the shape tiles onto a piece of plywood, so they have that gap offset, so they can run the strip around the shape. That's what I think happened here.
I don't know.
I have a theater in 420s. How about the True Image for 2-channel music? No, man. So she'll go to direct mode in a core. A BioConnect core does the direct mode by default because it's only one power link stereo. And if you do direct mode on the theater, uh, it's a much better experience.
The BeoConnect core still uses True Image.
Yeah, but the direct sounds better through 2 channels.
I mean, again, I would say this is a preference, right? Like, I still often for music use True Image. Mainly because, like, a lot of things is on that is not 2.0, like, stereo master race kind of thing. Because I just want a lot of sound sometimes.
Should I also keep bass management on for 2-channel music? I don't think for your case it really matters unless you have a Beolab 2 or a 19 in the mix. If it's 420s or just 220s that you use, or pair of 20s rather, that you use for stereo, I don't think that the bass management doesn't matter. The crossover will have no effect because it's a full range speaker, first of all. Second of all, bass management will have no effect because it's a full range speaker set and there is nothing to manage the bass unless you use it in a what I would call the old fashioned speaker 3 mode where you are having the theater with it. Then the redirection levels and the
Yeah.
bass management and all that shit starts to come into play.
So in other words, you can have it on, but it won't be doing anything anyway. So
Yeah,
it
exactly.
doesn't really matter if you have it on or off.
In
I
a
would,
direct mode
I
with the stereo.
yeah, I would say if you have true image on, it matters a bit more. But that's more a width thing that
Hmm.
that you uh get affected by. But even for bass, it doesn't do that much.
Hmm.
But again, a lot of this is personal preference, right? Like you're the advice you're asking for is what is your preference, and Willie has a different preference than I do.
Exactly.
But it's also a different system than I have. So, like, I have no issue. Like, John, like, formerly from Manchester, now from Peter Tyson, right? Like, he is one of those, I must have 2.0 and it must be, and that is the best setup. Like, he's more one of those more classic listeners.
Hmm.
I'm not like that. Like, sometimes I have my 450s on, and like, if I then set it to direct mode, the rear does nothing. Maybe add some bass, but like I want stuff from the rear because I'm somewhere in the middle, not in the sweet spot.
Yes.
And I don't know, maybe I'm doing a silly dance with a cat in my arms, right? So I really don't care. I just want a lot of sound from everywhere.
Hmm. No, I'm the same way. Like, there is a difference between having the music on and listening to music for me. Having
Yeah,
the music on is just I have the network link basically fully employed or deployed rather. Everything's playing. The bathroom, the bedroom, the office, the whole 9 yards is on. But if I'm listening to music, I just go to stereo pair 90s. That's it. I don't need anything else. The 18s don't really help it at all. In some points, they kind of pull back the performance of the 90s. If like I remember that with the Avant, it was great, but once you get the speaker four or like the surround 18s, it's it kind of brings the music a little past your ears, but it doesn't feel and sound as real as if you sit in dead center lined with the 90s and they just do their thing on their own. There is nothing like it. Period. So, and
so
I would be the same, I guess, for the any other two-channel system. If you're doing this music, just do it in stereo, unless you have a Pink Floyd Dark Side of the Moon 5.1 or quadraphonic remake of it. Then obviously utilize what is needed. Other than that, for me, stereo is a stereo listening, right?
yeah. So he says, so my issue is I turn room compensation for two-channel music off because it strips the bass. Redirection is set to 0. When I turn room comp off, there's too much bass. Make a new listening position for that specific thing and take some bass out.
That's exactly it.
Where it like just make it a preset.
I would recommend that. Somebody doesn't know that I'm busy today. Yeah.
I mean,
So
you can also add some bass to the one with the room compensation. I would also, if the room comp and or true image is on, I would put the width slider all the way wide, even for just a 2.0 thing, because somehow it pulls it inwards if it's set in the default position on those sliders.
mhm. Yeah, and in the direct mode, those true image sliders, the surround, envelopment, height, and stage width have no function. So no matter where you slide them, they ain't gonna do nothing. So
Me,
yeah, I wish there was a little bit more simple way to set up the theater than it is, to be honest.
I mean, you can keep the room compensation on, set redirection to 0, and still add bass if that's also an option. If that's still not enough bass, right? Like,
Or just delete the room comp for that stupid area if you don't like it. You already have the most important part from that room compensation, which is the distances to your listening locations from the speakers. Delete the room comp and then just play with it. Play with it with your own ears, man. It's nothing wrong with that. Like, you're not going against the law. There's gonna be no BNO SWAT team kicking your door down because you fucking deleted room comp, bro. It's not. That's not gonna happen.
yeah,
You
it's
know,
all preferences down the
it's all
line.
preferences. You cook your food the way you like it, and you eat it with whatever ingredients that taste good to you. It's the same with music. If you don't like it, like, not everybody has to drink soda because I like soda. You know what I mean? So that's if the room comp is there and it does more, it does worse than better for what you're asking from the system to do. Delete the shit. It's no big deal.
I mean, maybe this is extremely presumptuous, but based off your name, you may like chilies more than the Danes do. But that doesn't make
Exactly.
your
So
flavor taste profile wrong.
if I lower redirection levels and base management off, would it make a difference? Probably. But I think what the problem is that you're experiencing, that the way where the microphone was in that exact position, it could be that it's a base dead spot. You know what I mean? And therefore, when you sit a little bit further away or somewhere else, all of a sudden, like, it's either too much or too little. It's how the microphone has read it. I personally would delete the bass or the room comp and treat it and go from there, or just
maybe,
duplicate your listening position and do it from there, so you don't lose what you already made.
I was just going to interject and say, like, how did you get to the listening position from the everything all at once tested to the thing with room compensation, or did you start from the point with just the two front speakers? Because that will also make a massive difference at how redirection is working in the preset you've made.
Yeah, I would do a preset that, like,
Just
in
get the
here.
microphone out and just set it up. Like, I just want to test the front left and front right speaker
That's right.
in whatever position you put it at.
Yeah, don't do the sweep for all of them, because yeah, the base redirection levels then are then redistributed based on how many speakers you have assigned. Even though then you go back and it says roll none, you haven't changed the values that the theater had measured already. So if you're going to do a stereo listening position, just put the mic in where you're going to sit, and then just run the calibration. Only select left 20 left and left 20 right that you have. The theater will do its initial measurement from left and right to triangulate itself and the distance, and then it'll just sweep the left and right 20, and that's it. And
It'll
from
sound
there,
like the theater is doing something, but it's only because there's two mics in the theater, so it can triangulate where the other mic is that's on the cord.
yes. So that's my suggestion. I would do that, and I'm going to do the exact same thing here, where, well, with the 90s it is recommended to delete the room compensation completely from the presets that the 90s are involved in.
Yeah, I'm just trying to say, like, if because he says I like room comp exactly how it's measured for movie, i.e. full surround, but I hate it for two-channel music. What I'm trying to say is, like, if you have that room compensation for your full setup, right, and you like that, you then copy it and delete speakers from that, you'll get a very different outcome than when you measure it from just what you want to do.
From those two speakers.
Yeah.
So the moral of the story is, you take the grill off, you plug in the microphone, and you do a room comp for stereo 20s. That's it.
Yeah, because you can make so many of them. Like, one of the downsides of, like, I guess my system, right, is, and me trying to do it properly, is like I spent so much time, like, literally just measuring in speakers because I have so many possible setups. Because when I listen to radio, it's just the 17s. but it's in a different precision. So I also, like, if I want to show off with just a stereo set of 17s, is that another measuring in listening position?
Yes.
Then if I want 50s, do I want them in low, what you call it? DSP, the low fast mode, or
low latency, yeah,
or the high
low
latency? And do I want just two, like the front two, or do I want all of them? Which is another two measurements. And then it's another twofold for if it's high or low latency. So if I go down my remote, there's like, God, I'm at like 12 different listening presets. It's like, ugh.
Fuck, I had 5 and I was in a studio, for God's sake. So, you know what I mean? Like, it's Sushil, you gotta just play with it and tune for things. Like, yes, I understand it's annoying, but then again, put it this way. Once you create all these listening presets, then you just go to the source behavior for each, let's say, source behavior and teaser. It only goes to the 20 in the direct mode stereo. That's it. You can still go back with the remote on the list and fuck around and put it to a surround and true image and whatever, and it'll do whatever the true image does. But by default, let's say I'm sure you have it the same way, Mikey, where if you turn on the radio, the listening presets in a source behavior is just for the 17s.
Yeah.
And then you don't have to worry about any of that nonsense that, oh, fuck, it turned on everything and I just want one, right? So you create all these crazy listening presets, and then you just assign them to different sources, and they're always going to be there based on what, if you go to YouTube. For me, like, YouTube was obviously in stereo because there's really not much surround, but I had it also set to speech because most of the stuff that I watch is yapping. And for music, I just had it to stereo.
Hello, yapping.
and into music. So,
I mean, I even have a plain 7.1 setup with the theater and just the 17s, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because that came from the time when the 50s weren't even connected. And I decided, like, actually just
keep it.
Yeah, but also just to compare it, like, because it is something I could live with. I would like to add the 19 back into that because, like, it does lack some bass that I've gotten used to, but...
So, yeah, Sushil, I would suggest that if you have a life partner, you fucking buy him a movie ticket or something, send him out for a few hours, plug in the mic, get a bottle of wine or whiskey, whatever the fucking floats your boat, and just get on tuning. Spend a few hours, make sure everything's quiet in the house. And what I would also suggest, if you're going to do the surround presets and whatever, if you have an iPad, then use the iPad for the app control and modifying stuff, because it's easier on a slider with the precision for the finger. Because on the smaller screen, you lift and it goes down by 5-10 centimeters. And then download a sound meter app or dB meter app onto your phone and use that in your location where you are, and measure from there and match everything up to, let's say, if you have an air conditioning and it's loud in there, put it to 75 dB and match all of your speakers into that level, because I guarantee you it will not be done the same way from the microphone. And that is a huge improvement in experience as far as the sound quality and surround perception is concerned. My findings. So that's what I would suggest.
Yeah, come join the Discord if...
Yeah, I would also suggest to leave a like. Call this.
I mean, and again, a lot of it is preference. There is no DB app that matters because you're just setting it relative to one another. I would say one that is free.
The one that I bought is it's called the Sound Meter Pro. I don't know if you can see it or not.
No, but it's all right.
Sound Meter Pro. I think I paid for it, like $2 or whatever. But I don't remember why or what was the thing. But yeah, this is what the look like, or what the look of it is. The nice thing is that you can actually reverse it. And what happens is that you can basically use it upside down, and the microphone is at the front like a dB meter should be. And yeah, this one, it works very well.
Where did I leave mine?
And
Mine is called dB meter.
I used to have a dB meter. Yeah, I used to
No,
have
as
a
in the
dB
app
meter.
is called literally dB meter.
Yeah, that was I used to have it on the iPad, but on the Android, it's that what I use. I forget what is it called?
Meaning it's free.
Sound Meter Pro.
If
Yeah.
you want it all different sort of weighted, then you have to pay. But it's you're measuring relative to 1 point anyway, and you can't be sure that the microphone in your device is calibrated to the correct weighting anyway.
No.
And
But in
then
any case, remove the case from your phone when
I
you're
mean, if
doing
your
that.
microphone is 1 dB off, it really doesn't matter because you're just making sure that everything measures the same to the dB meter.
Yeah, it makes no difference what the how inaccurate it is because everything will be set to that same level of
Yeah,
whatever inaccuracy it is. But at the end of the day, it's not really inaccurate because if you have something that you thought was 75 and it's at 73, well, it makes no difference.
yeah.
No, I'm not in France, bro. I'm in Canadian France or Canada's France, I guess you could call it.
So when the
The
white
Paris
noise
of
is,
Canada.
I would just say the white noise, it's not a matter of how loud it plays. Just set it to a volume level you use often. And let's say the theater plays out whatever it is, 60, 65, 62, maybe 70, whatever it comes to, right? Make
It
sure
also
that
depends where
everything
you live.
else is the same.
But it also depends where you live because let's say you have a forced air conditioning, right? Which I had come across in some places where you're unable to turn it off. So you turn on your dB meter and whatever that reads, if it reads at like let's say 62 dBs or whatever when it's half in air, you go at least 5 to 10 dBs over top of it. So I would go to 75, right, and measure everything because then the pink, white noise, whatever you want to call it, will over will overtop the the
Yeah.
noise that you have ambiently in the room. How long will it take to unpack the 90s? About 4 hours to get them. And the reason why I say 4 hours, just to get them out of the crate, is about a 45 minutes to a half an hour job per speaker. Then you need another person to lift them. So I have those little things that screw in the lift kit. I have actually two lift kits and the skates. So 3 people, 2 people lift it. Third one slides the pallet from under it. We sit it on the ground, attach the skates, roll it into its final resting position, get the laser level. I'm not laser level, but the laser level essentially. To the sweet spot is what I usually do, and then I put the center to toe in the speaker exactly with the line of the laser. Copy and paste for the second speaker. Turn them on. Hopefully they have no issues. And then you start measuring, and the measuring is about 15 minutes per sweep.
Yeah, so essentially it's an all day job depending on how many measurements you do.
Exactly.
So you're lucky in the sense that they're there and you need to move them like, I don't know, a meter or two, right? So,
Well, I have skates. It wouldn't matter anyways, wherever they would be.
but if you started counting from like you come at a customer's and they now need to come out your car, like it would be 6 to 8 hours.
It's a full day, man.
Yeah.
It's a full day, bro. It's not even fun.
Yeah, and
It's
then
it's
with
fun when they're booted up and you are unplugging the microphone. That's when it's fun.
and
But
then you have to do the whole measurement thing with the theater again, and then depending on how big your system is, it takes for fucking ever. If I do measurements on my system, right, it'll take me a good
oh,
three
dude,
hours of just
at least
fucking measuring all everything,
yeah,
and
just
that's
listen to the whoop for 3 hours.
yeah, essentially because I start with
Oh no,
the front
for
50s, like right,
yeah, and you
like
get the back 50s.
every wide possibility I have, every narrow possibility I have. Then I go to the back speakers and do the same fucking thing all over again.
Yeah.
So that's what? That's at least 4 or 5 per speaker. So that's an hour and a quarter per set of 50. So that's 2.5 hours.
Hmm.
And then I
And
start
then
with
you're
all the
moving like
positions, with all the theater.
yeah, dude. It's a
Which
lot. Like it doesn't. It's See, and that's when, like, we cringe over a factory reset, because like people that just have a standalone theater, well, just factories the fuck. Okay, cool, boop, done, right? But bro, like the
Oh,
the
I hate it. I don't
landslide of
like doing this at all.
just the landslide of those thoughts of how much I have to recalibrate. You know what I mean? When it hits the bottom of the hill of your head, it's just, I fuck me. It's too much. So yeah, it's a lot of work. Obviously, once you have them set up, it's the cream of the crop. Like there is nothing better, and they do get in your head for that exact reason. But not many people see the journey
Last
to the
time I
perfection.
factory reset the theater because it was being weird, right? Started factory resetting the theater at like midnight, because then like once that was done outside, there's no like cars and stuff anymore. And there was obviously some B&O app issues would make it take longer. And once the theater was back up and running, then I had some other things and it needed to reset the 50s again. And it's like, oh. And then I went to bed once it was finally measured in, but not like properly set up in the app. I went to bed at like 6:30 in the morning.
Yeah,
It's like,
it's
yeah.
insanity, bro. Yeah, like people don't understand till they own that system. It's not that it's a headache. It's beautiful when it works, but it just to get there, the journey is a pain in the ass,
You
more or
better
less.
not have any pets. If you have a dog that just like mid measurement starts going, like with the pause, right? And it's like,
Or
okay, you can
loses
start
his
over.
shit. Yeah,
Yeah, you can
yeah.
start over again. Like
Or
this measurement
fuck.
is ruined.
Yeah, no, I've had that before. I've had that with the clients. These nannies and shit, Filipino ladies, and they just "Bah, bah, 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 bah," in the kitchen, like, can you shut the fuck up so I can get out of here, please? Like, you've ruined this already 4 times, and I'm running out of being nice. You need to stop talking, or you leave this room. Like, you need to go upstairs, downstairs, garage. I don't care, but please leave. They all look at me like, what the fuck? I'm like, I'm serious. Like, yeah, I need to do my job, bro. And y'all be bickering up in this motherfucker. I can't do that. It's yeah, and man, it's yeah, the dogs sometimes trip out and you're back to the same.
Or somebody makes a cup of coffee mid measurement.
Oh fuck me with the Nespresso machines, bro. Oh, like are you? And then like and then I've had that happen too. And the husband gets there, it's like, are you fucking serious right now? I'm just sitting there all of a sudden, it circles the go, boom. No, there's too much noise detected. Start over. Oh. But it doesn't delete all of it. It just you have to redo that particular measurement. So if you're doing a narrow listening position, then you have to do all 3 microphone positions again and start over.
Well, the worst
It's a
thing is
lot
you
of
can't
laughs.
stop it like 50s and 90s. You can't stop
No, no,
measurement. You have to like,
no. That's a runaway train until it hits the station.
because if you do, the app will crash and then you're really back to square one.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Ask me how I know too.
I'm very aware.
But anyways,
Pain in the ass. Anyway,
well,
thank you everybody for
let's
watching.
consider that live stream nonsense and see if we can do something that
Yeah,
if
first
people
you
are
need power
interested
though.
in. If people, yeah, once I get the power sorted out, we'll figure something out. If you guys are interested in seeing the process of how these things actually come out of the box and hit the floor and get powered up, I'll make a short video, I guess. Well, to you it will be short. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah. Leave a like, subscribe. We'll see you all in the next one. Have a good week and have fun.
Bye.
Which this